Hello again, everybody. It's John Lunn here, aka Jonnychipz, and today is the 26th of February 2021, and it's time for Jonnychipz Weekly number 9. So yeah, hi, thanks so much for tuning in once again this week with me. Usual format this week, the 4 sections: Azure Updates, Welsh Azure User Group, Community Callout, and Jonnychipz on the side. Without further ado, let's just jump straight on in. There's been a lot of things to get through this week. Okay, so first we'll look at the Azure Updates again. I'm not going to dig into these one by one because there are pushing 30 updates again this week, but there are a lot of things that are being retired. Now we've got a bit of time for these announcements. We're looking at 3 years' time, so 2024. But of course, some of these things that are retiring may impact your infrastructure, your configuration of your solutions. So it's worth knowing about these now, so you can obviously plan to, if you are using some of these services, you can plan to move off them over in good time, essentially. Like I say, I'm not going to dig into these too much, but there is one that I just wanted to call out that kind of goes for the majority of customers that I'm seeing. So if you are running Azure AD Connect to do that synchronization from your on-prem AD up into Azure AD, then Microsoft periodically they do retire the old versions of Azure AD Connect. So they do prompt people to get that that utility updated. You can do auto update, which is up to you if you want to do or not. There's pros and cons around that, but the vast majority of companies are probably going to be running Azure AD Connect unless you are cloud native, in which case, good for you. But do check up on that utility, see what version you're running, check this announcement, and there's a minimum version. So just that's the one big call out that I've seen in this list so far. If we scroll down, there are, like I say, the majority of these are target retirement dates for 3 years' time. So, I mean, I'll scroll down on the screen. I urge you, obviously, to go and check this out yourself. So, they're things like retiring Classic. Microsoft obviously are retiring a lot of not so much legacy services, but of course these services have evolved over time, so it's not like they're removing things from Azure. It's just typically it's a lot of classic versions of the feature set that have been transitioned over to the ARM sort of Azure Resource Manager format. Okay, let me just scroll through. I think there were a few interesting announcements outside of those targeted retirement dates. Okay, so automation's available in UAE Central. I think I did see one about an announcement around Azure data centers in Indonesia, which is really exciting. You know, again, it just goes to show that Azure is expanding into many different countries and different regions across the world. Web application firewall for front door is having a refresh, and I believe there's integration with standard and premium SKU. So the premium SKU of Azure front door is in preview at the moment. Sorry, the web application firewall integration is in preview at the moment with a premium SKU. But I mean, it just adds a few additional feature sets. So I believe it was just custom rules on the standard version of front door. I think with the premium SKU, you can add things like, obviously there's sets of rules, and there's bots that you can add in there to kind of dynamically on the fly protect whatever those services are you've got behind the front door. Okay, yeah, and I think that brings us back to a week ago today. So, yeah, like I say, a whistle-stop tour again this week on what's going on in the world of Azure Updates. As always, I always try and at least visit that once or maybe a couple of times a week just to try and stay on top of what is going on in the world of Azure news. Okay, moving on. Let's have a quick catch-up on the Welsh Azure user group. So again, for those of you that don't know, I'm a co-organizer of the Welsh Azure user group. We've had lots going on. It's going from strength to strength. Huge thanks to everybody for the support that we're getting on that, and obviously Microsoft and our sponsors, Admiral and Servant. Just wanted to call out big congratulations to all our exam voucher winners from the February event. We were fortunate enough to be able to give away 10 Microsoft exam vouchers. Just ran a little Twitter competition, so congrats to all those guys there. If you're not following Welsh Azure on Twitter, then go and follow. It's at Welsh Azure. And yeah, just a quick reminder of our March event now. So places are starting to fill up now. We're getting a lot of interest in there. We're going for a virtual lightning talk session. So we've got 7 fantastic people from across the community to come and give us sort of a 10 or 15 minute talk on something specifically related to Azure. So we've got Martin coming to talk to us about DevSecOps. If I click on this little image here, we got Shabazz is coming on. He's going to talk about backing up Azure files with the Veeam product. We've got Baz Van Kam from Get Nerdio coming on to talk to us about ephemeral OS disks with WVD, what that use case is. Darren is going to come on and talk around what Azure migrations are like in the real world, because, let's face it, we learn these things, and then when we go and apply our knowledge to the real world, we find sometimes there are things out to get us. So I'm really interested to see Darren's thoughts on that. We've got Rolf coming on to talk to us around licenses and subscriptions. Mert is going to give us a session on Visual Studio Code for Azure, so that's going to be an interesting one as well. Martin, like I say, is going to come and talk to us about DevSecOps, so that'll be very interesting. And of course, last but not least, Chris is going to come and chat to us around GitHub, and I believe this is how he used GitHub to kind of help plan and build his own podcast and his own blog site. So that's going to be a really interesting bit of insight there from Chris. So yeah, like I say, not too much additional news this week on the Azure user group there, but I just wanted to call out, obviously, just to remind you that we've got the event coming up in March. So if you can reach out to us on Twitter, join our meetup, register RSVP for that event, we would love to have you there. And as always, there's a good selection of prizes up for grabs. So come and join us on that one. Okie dokie, moving on swiftly to the community call out section. So obviously it's Friday today. This is it's lunchtime. I'm sure you're all prepping. If you're not aware that Microsoft Ignite is happening next week, it is. If you haven't registered, then jump on now. Next week, March 2nd to the 4th, so we've got 3 days. I believe it starts a bit later in the day, obviously GMT, because this is primarily, it kicks off, I think, to coincide with either Pacific Standard Time or Eastern. I think it's Pacific. But go and register. They have just opened up, or I say just a couple of days ago, they've opened up your schedule planner. So I've literally just started to go in and start filling up. But you can see that we've got some great events going on. I mean, kicking off with Satya's keynote. So it's going to be 4:30 GMT in the afternoon. So that'll be cool to watch the opening keynote. You've got a couple of sessions, and you've got this Envisioning Tomorrow keynote, which is running at about 7 o'clock GMT. I've seen a lot of noise going across Twitter with people that are speaking and sessions that we should get involved with, but I've literally not had a chance to jump on and start picking my sessions. So get on and do that. And the other great thing to point out is that they're running another Cloud Skills Challenge. So if you're new to Azure or any Microsoft product for that matter, if you're trying to learn things, get on there. Register for the Cloud Skills Challenge. I don't think they've announced it just yet, but if you just keep your eyes peeled for that announcement, sign in with your MS Learn account, and if you complete the whatever it is the Cloud Skills Challenge is, it's normally you complete a certain number of set Learn modules. So you'll go through a particular path or learning path, and you'll get a free Microsoft exam voucher at the end of it. So it's a no-brainer. You've got this great content from MS Learn, and for your hassles and troubles of learning something new, they're going to give you a voucher. So get on that. That's a great one to know about. And I did that last year, got my free voucher, sat an exam. So if you didn't know about that, go and check that out. Okay, really proud and happy to be supporting the fantastic community and the fantastic guys that are sorting out the Scottish Summit this year. I didn't have a chance to put any session material in, so I'm not speaking myself, but I thought, well, I'll do my best. They put a call out for volunteers to help run and moderate and manage some of the rooms of that event. So that's kicking off tomorrow, Saturday the 27th of Feb. So if you haven't got your ticket, it's a free ticket. Jump on to scottishsummit.com. There are hundreds of sessions. They have got it's mind-blowing to see how the guys have organised this. They've got multiple rooms. It's all being run over Restream and Event Mobi. There's probably borderline 400 sessions going on. Some of those are pre-recorded, some of those are live, so you can get interactive in the chat. and ask the speaker questions. I'm manning the Ardrossan room, so if you want to pop in and say hello, I'll be in there with Jamie, who we're co-moderating that room and just helping the speakers get involved, and obviously any questions that any of the participants may have. So the room that I'm in is all about, there's a lot of security sessions. I think there's about 8 sessions across the day, so I'll be in there from 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Really looking forward to that, and to be honest, I'll be a spectator myself, so I'll be watching these sessions because there looks to be some fantastic content. So scottishsummit.com, I would implore you to go and check that out, because if you didn't know about that, where have you been? But there we go, if you do now, so go and check that out because it's fantastic to see. Okay, moving on. Again, quick shout out to Joe and Thomas as well there with their Azure Spring Clean. Still, this is last day for submissions of ideas. They can, if you've got any ideas, I know this is around monitoring and governance sort of side of things, then get in contact with Joe or Thomas Thornton and drop your idea and submission over to them. So yeah, I think you may be at the cutoff now, but it was just a quick call out because I know that the Spring Clean in March is another great sort of event that goes on in the community. So big shout out to those guys, and obviously follow that and consume the content because it's there. Okay, moving on again. Big shout out to the Bradford Cloud User Group. Sarge, Shabazz, and Imran, fantastic. I managed to join. I was a little bit late joining their session last night, but they had Baz Van Cam, they had Neil on from Get Nerdio. They were talking about the Get Nerdio product, which is a fantastic product. And then Sarge came on to do a talk, which I believe was his first talk, and to be honest, you wouldn't have guessed it. Did a fantastic session. If you're looking to set up your first blog site, he talks you through some of the concepts and approaches to it. So I believe the guys are recording the sessions and they'll get them up on a platform soon. But congratulations, big shout out to Brad Cugg. So yeah, follow them on @BradCugg. Obviously, we're all virtual at the moment, so we can join from anywhere in the world, and I'm sure the guys would really appreciate the support. Check them out to find out when their next podcast is, when their next session is. And obviously rewatch that session because it was for a first session. It was brilliant to see some great interaction as well from the community on that one. So well done, guys. Looking forward to the next content that you're putting out. And moving on, we have some exam announcements. Okay, this popped up on my timeline yesterday, but we've got a couple of exams gone into beta. Now, Microsoft seems to be releasing quite a lot of exams lately. We had the AZ-104 for WVD is going into beta. We've now got DP-203, so it's an Azure Data Engineer Associate. That's going into beta. So if you're into the data side, you can get to be one of the first. And generally, I think they release this to around about 300, maybe 400 people. If you get in quickly, this is from yesterday. So if you get in quickly, you can get an 80% discount on your DP-203 if you're prepared to take that in beta. Generally speaking, beta exams, there's obviously not necessarily a lot of content to study from, or you're having to match up the skills measured to finding your own content. But to be honest, sometimes there are people that have already put that together, which is great to see. So not looked into that myself, but go and check that out. And we have another exam announcement, the AI 102. So if you want to become an AI engineer associate, then go and check this out. We've got, again, first 300 test takers will get an 80% discount. Jump onto the MS Learn Twitter feed, which is @Microsoft Learn. Find this post, click on it, go and get yourself registered if that's of interest. I'd love to crack on with the AI stuff, but as I said last week, there just simply doesn't appear to be enough time in the week. So yeah, 2 new exam announcements that I picked up this week. Big shout out to good friends and colleagues of mine, Dean Ellaby and Andy Jones. They set up getmodern_UK. So on Twitter, if you follow getmodern_UK, they're really just starting out on this journey of recording content and putting a little bit back out to the community. And they've released their first video on their YouTube. So if you could go and give those guys a follow, go and say hello, watch their video. I mean, it's great to see. So Andy and Dean both work in the modern desktop side of the fence, if you like, in cloud. Massive experience behind the guys, and they got very similar story to myself, where you want to put something back out to the community. You've not necessarily had the chance to all this, and I think COVID has just given people the chance to speak out a little bit more. So this is Andy and Dean, and they're on that journey. So anything you can do to go and support them, go and follow them, do that, because they're obviously they're a great bunch of guys as well, and I work with them, so even better. There we go. So community call out for the week. Hopefully, like I say, I can't possibly call out everything that I see on Twitter because there is so much fantastic content. So I'm trying to call out things as and when I see them in the week. It's quite a wonderful process I've got going on for how I capture this information and make sure that I remember it to tell you lovely lot about it on a Friday. Okay, and we are into the last section of the show this week, and it is, bear with me, Jonnychipz on the side. So let's just jump straight on over to my desktop again. So this week, Jonnychipz on the side. Firstly, I wanted to give a big shout out to Sarah Lean. I mean, I was blown away. I put a note up not so long ago. We're trying to acquire a cuddly toy, the raccoon, the Azure raccoon. And Sarah was so kind enough to send me a little bit of a swag bag, which I'm obviously blown away with. So there he is. Bit is sat on. I don't know, actually. Is he a he or is he a she? Or is she non-binary? I have no idea. But anyway, they are sat on my shelf. That was a very bit of a tongue twister to say there. But no, thanks so much, Sarah. That was brilliant. Really made my day yesterday. And I got my little Scottish Summit stress ball there as well. So thanks so much for that. You can just about see a bit there, if I can move my finger. Sat on my shelf, saying hello to everybody. Right. I did a little bit of a YouTube and another blog this week on creating a Docker image and pushing that image into an Azure Container Registry. Check it out. I mean, it's a follow-on from my blog article about the Blazor WASM web app that's running in a Docker container. I'm taking it with this blog to the next step, which is, right, I've got my container. How do I now push that into an Azure Container Registry? And I'm going to make another blog article and probably a little video after that to show how you can then consume that container image in a web app service plan. And obviously, my intention is to allow that to control the robot arm. So if you haven't seen that, it'd be really appreciated if you could go and give that one a click, have a read, have a watch, like and subscribe to the YouTube. That would be perfect. Okay, Monday night just gone. So myself and Dean thought it'd be a fantastic idea to sit on a live stream on my twitch.tv/Jonnychipz and solder for to be honest, I don't think we knew how long it would take. We were kind of imagining maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. But we did it. 3.5 hours later, we got 2 working Pico Stream Decks. So again, Pete Gallagher, name drop. Pete always gets a mention on this show. In fact, I think we joked last time about having Pete's face appear in a corner and just come on and just give me the knowing nod as I'm talking about him. Going to inflate his ego even now. Pete's a fantastic guy. I mean, if you're not following Pete, go and follow him. He's such a fantastic community leader, and the content and the ideas that he's got are just really engaging. So, I mean, and the people he follows, the information he's got. If you're not, and you're you're looking to get into the world of IT, go and follow Pete. It's as simple as that, really. You'll just be so inspired. There's so much engagement going on there. There's so much to do. To be honest, I blame Pete for me having so much to do now because he's given me so many great ideas. I'm just struggling to complete them all. But anyway, back to Solder Stream. So me and Dean jumped on Twitch on Monday night, and we sat there for 3.5 hours, and we soldered. So I got myself prepared with a little pair of helping hands. There they are, and an extra roll of solder just in case I needed it. And we sat and we soldered. So you can see this is the end result. That I didn't get all my wires wired up because I've since learned that the cable I use was pretty thick. I mean, I just bought a roll of thinner rainbow coloured cable from Pomeroni. I think that's how you say it. Like I say, again, Pete kind of pointed that out to me. But to be honest, I jumped on Amazon. I just picked what I thought was thin wire. And when it came, it was quite thick. It was quite a heavy gauge. So I thought I'd crack on, and the result of that was because the wires were so thick on my Pico, it ended up snapping the pins on the button, which obviously isn't great. But the concept was we managed to get it soldered up. We managed to get, I think I got 5 out of my 6 buttons. That one button that snapped, and then I didn't get a chance to wire up the other 6 buttons. But Dean took a different approach. Dean, clever clogs Dean, thought that he would wire a set of headers on. So there's these little pins that you can wire onto the Pico Pi, which is one of those. And then you can obviously, what Dean did is he plugged his wires on. He had a female connector that he could plug onto the pins. Whereas he did tell me that at the beginning of the session, and I kind of didn't quite get what he was saying. But I did later on when I started wiring the wires into my Pico, and completely, I was tired, to be honest. I think that was my problem. I was a little bit tired, putting the wires into the wrong holes and having to unsolder. It got a little bit messy, and I snapped a couple of the wires. But the point is, we got there. Both Dean and myself, we managed to get the software loaded that Pete had written. We got the buttons working. I've actually subsequently unwired all of mine. I'm going to do it again with the thinner wire. But just to call out, Pete actually mentioned on IoT Live, on the Azure Live channel, the other night he was talking with Cliff about the fact that he's designed and he's having manufactured a PCB. So that's pretty cool. So rather than having all of this massive wire, you can attach a PCB, attach your components and your buttons, and away to go. So that's going to be interesting. Can't wait to see what that looks like, and how that works. So like I say, yeah, if you're not... there we go. You can see Dean's working, mine working. It was good fun. I mean, Dean, I hope Dean enjoyed it as well. I certainly did. So if you want to watch that back, it's only 3.5 hours long, then jump on over to my Twitch TV. So twitch.tv/Jonnychipz. And there it is. The video is there in all its glory. We were astonished that we did have a good few viewers throughout the entire session. But you can also see that I keep my Jonnychipz Weekly, and to be honest, I might at some stage just stream my In Conversation with videos that are out on the Azure Live channel. And on that note, yeah, big shout out to Chris Reddington. He was my guest last week on the Azure Live Twitch stream with the In Conversation series. That's been received really well. It was watched by a good group of people. It's out on my YouTube and the Azure Live YouTube at the moment. If you want to rewatch that, some great insights from Chris. So go and give that a like and a follow and a watch. And my guest for tonight. So if you haven't seen it, we've got Anae joining me tonight. And now Anae works for CodeFresh. She's a developer advocate, and we talk around the 100 days of Kubernetes tonight and what it means to learn all these new technologies. Anae is a fantastic guest. She's such a charismatic person. Great knowledge, great insight, and she's got her DevOps diary and her YouTube, really covering DevOps, Azure Container, sorry, not Azure Container Services, but Kubernetes Container. God, I get my words mixed up. Kubernetes. She's got her DevOps diary and a YouTube covering Kubernetes and containers and DevOps and that good stuff. And I think she's moving into infrastructure as code and all sorts of great stuff at the moment. So she was a fantastic guest to have and have a chat with. That is going out tonight, the 26th of February, 6:30 p.m. on the Azure Live Twitch stream. So go and follow. Be great to see as many of you there as possible. And if you're watching this on a rerun, then that will be on the Azure Live YouTube or on my YouTube. You can watch that later down the road. So yeah, and I've already got my next week's video recorded. I'll be announcing that in the socials next week. So stay tuned to see what that one's all about. Okay. Just wanted to give a big thank you. I put this on Twitter the other day, but at the beginning of the year, if you remember, I did finished the 100 Days of Cloud Challenge. I set myself a few little targets where I thought I'd aim to create at least a couple of YouTube pieces per month, doing quite well on that front. I was aiming to get 321 subscribers, just 300 plus 21 because it's a year, and the same with my Twitter followers. So my Twitter has gone up no end over the last few months, which I'm really, sort of privileged and thank everybody that has followed me on Twitter and said hello and commented. But I was blown away the fact that I've now surpassed that 321. I think I'm up to about 326 or so, something like that, which I need to set a new goal. So I mean, I really don't want to know. I really don't know what to put as my goal there. But thanks so much to everybody that has kind of reached out and followed me on my YouTube channel. Really, really do appreciate that. Okay, what else have I been doing this week then? So yes, I've already shown you the wire. Got that from Pimaroni this week. I think it got delivered yesterday. Yeah, so bought an extra few Picos, got some headers, got this Pico Explorer, which is pretty cool. So it allows me to put a Pico, wire the headers on, plug it in, and obviously you've got a little mini breadboard. You've got some pins and some expansion breakout slots there, and a little LCD screen and a little buzzer, sound buzzer on there. So a great little development tool to start plugging in and exploring the Pico, as the name suggests. So set that up yesterday, had a little bit of a play with it, and that's good fun so far. And we can see I've just got a couple of little photos showing. I mean, this is the stock demo code that I just got running on there that just plays a little bit of a sound and puts some stuff on the LCD screen. And then I just ran a little temperature sensor application on there. So really exciting. You can see my shocking soldering that, I've not soldered for a while. So I need to retouch up a few of these pins, but it's working. It's working as far as I'm concerned. I might have trouble with one or two pins, but hey ho, there's worse things in life, eh? Got back to the laser etcher as well this week. Had a bit of fun with that in the evenings. Just because I bought it a while back, got it set up. If you remember, I put my switch and my plug on there. Started playing with Inkscape. So Inkscape and a plugin. There's a great plugin for creating your laser G code. So just having a little bit of a play. Still got a bit of fine tuning to do. It's not that the infill is slightly gappy, but it's pretty good. Happy with that. Obviously, you've got to do a Jonnychipz logo, so I got my Jonnychipz logo on there working well, and the Tree of Life. So yeah, I've been playing about with that. It's great fun. You've got to open a window or get some extraction because it gets rather smoky. But there we go. It's good fun. 3D printing, been doing a bit more. This came off. This was a good 40-hour print. This was, so my other half. Just, if you don't know about Thingiverse, go and check that out, thingiverse.com. It's full of what they call STL files, which is the file format that you need to load into what they call a slicer that creates the G-code. And the slicer just slices each layer of the print and tells the 3D printer where it needs to print and all that good stuff. So that was a nice 40-hour print and really happy with the finish. So I bought this copper-coloured PLA. Got a few stringy bits, but you just pick those off afterwards and maybe a slight blemish here and there. But that was, I think, normal quality. So it wasn't low, but it was normal. But you can go super, ultra fine. There's lots of different sort of thicknesses that you can go. So yeah, that came off earlier on in the week. So I was quite happy that one finished because that was a constant check of the phone throughout the night. And final note, if you haven't watched Ted Lasso on Apple TV, go and watch it. Fantastic series. Me and the other half managed to binge watch, I think, the entire 10 episodes in a day this week. Really great, wholesome, wholehearted storyline there. So that's my final thoughts for Jonnychipz on the side. So there we have it. Thanks so much for tuning in. I know I'm pushing the boundaries each week with the length of these videos, but we're coming up to the half an hour mark. If you've managed to stick around to watch this, thanks so much. There's probably a lot that I've missed out this week, but like I say, there's been so much happening, and there still is. There's always something on the go. Huge shout out to everybody that follows and supports and says hello and I'm in contact with. If you haven't said hello, pop me a message. Really love to hear from you. So on that note, that's us for this week. Jonnychipz Weekly number 9. Until next week, I will catch you then. Thanks all.